Beautiful women are used to getting a certain type of reaction from men due to a phenomenon in psychology known as the halo effect. So the halo effect is essentially where if a person is physically attractive, then people will tend to assume that they are confident, emotionally stable, intelligent, responsible, sociable, and trustworthy just because of their looks. Additionally, physically attractive people tend to be treated more positively because they are perceived as being good people or as possessing more socially desirable traits. So it's truly refreshing, surprising, and exciting for a beautiful woman when she interacts with a man who knows how to make her feel attracted because he's displaying traits that make her feel attracted, such as being confident, being emotionally independent, flirting with her, being assertive, or being his true authentic self around her and not pretending to be nicer than he is or wants to be, not pretending to be Mr. Aloof, not pretending to be this or that, but just being his true, real self around her, not flinching, not worrying, not being anxious, just being 100% authentic and letting her experience the real him. Unfortunately, though, most guys cannot do that around a beautiful woman. For example, if a man is around a woman that he doesn't find attractive and she finds him attractive, he will usually feel more confident and able to be his real self around her because he's not trying to get anything from her. She likes him, she wants him, but he's not interested. So he can just say whatever, he can do whatever, and he knows that she's still going to like him. He doesn't find her attractive, he's not interested. Yet if he's around a woman that he finds attractive, then suddenly he struggles to show his real authentic self, and instead he ends up being nicer than he is or wants to be, ends up being more hesitant in the way that he speaks, more timid, more worried, more anxious, and so forth. And the beautiful woman sees that, she senses it, she notices it in the subtleties of his body language, in his behavior, how he's talking, and so forth. And she's been seeing that ever since she became a young woman. She's seen the effect that she has on men. She knows what it looks like. And she also knows how rare it is to come across a guy who isn't being tricked by the halo effect, right? Who can look at her, find her attractive, but not be worrying and placing her above him in terms of value just based on her looks. Instead, he's not 100% sold on her yet. And he's able to let her sense that without being a prick, without being an arsehole. And the easiest way to do that as a man is to use what I call playfully challenging humor. This is where you can playfully challenge a woman and show her that you're not being on your best behavior and hoping to get a chance with her. And you're also not pretending to be Mr. Tough and Mr. Aloof and Mr. Disinterested and so forth to try to seem cool and try to seem like, yeah, I don't really care and so forth. That's going to make her chase me. That doesn't work. Beautiful women are very good at sensing and picking up when a guy is secretly afraid, secretly worried about getting rejected. And even if she cannot pick that up in a particular instance, she still sees that if a guy is acting distant and neutral and acting like he's Mr. Cool, then maybe there just isn't a sexual spark between him and her. Maybe the dynamic between him and her doesn't create that type of sexual attraction. Additionally, he seems like an aloof, disinterested sort of guy, and maybe that's because he doesn't find her that attractive. Maybe if she showed interest in having sex with him, he would do it, but he wouldn't really be that interested in her, right? He wouldn't be that attracted to her, so what's the point? Yet when a guy is able to stop with the acting and just show her that he's the normal, confident guy who isn't being tricked by the halo effect to the point where he can playfully mess with her, he can playfully tease her, and I'll give you some examples in a minute, then that immediately shows her that, hey, he's not being on his best behavior and putting on an act of being nicer than he really is or wants to be, and he's not pretending to be disinterested to hopefully be seen as cool and make her chase him. Instead, he's right there in the moment with her, and he's creating a spark of sexual attraction. He's making the sexual attraction mutual. So say, for example, a guy is talking to a brunette woman and she is beautiful. He finds her attractive, but he doesn't want to just say to her, hey, you're so beautiful, can I take you out sometime, and then get rejected. Instead, he wants to be able to show her that, hey, I'm so confident in myself that I can actually playfully push you away, but at the same time, I'm not being a prick about it. I'm not being an arsehole. I'm doing it in a way that is enjoyable to you. Playfully challenging humor is enjoyable for the woman. She gets to laugh and feel girly, feel feminine, feel challenged in the moment, see you as a confident man who isn't afraid of her and so forth. It's very enjoyable, and it's so surprising and unexpected for a beautiful woman because most guys just try to suck up to her. So, for example, if she's a brunette, a guy can say something like this. You know, you're beautiful, but I don't normally date brunettes, so would you be open to dyeing your hair blonde? And with that, she's going to feel playfully challenged and playfully shocked because he's potentially saying that she's not good enough for him, but she knows that he's only joking, right? He's not being serious about it and saying, you know, you're beautiful, but I don't normally date brunettes, so would you be open to dyeing your hair blonde? Saying it in that way is going to be weird, she's going to reject it and so forth, but if a man can say, you know, you're beautiful, but I don't normally date brunettes, so would you be open to dyeing your hair blonde? She can then see that it's a joke and she can laugh about it and she can be impressed that a man isn't afraid of playfully pushing her away. He's not being on his best behavior the whole time and trying to say everything nicely and not put a foot wrong to hopefully get a chance with her. I'm a good guy, I'm interested, I'll treat you well. I mean, I'm not like all these other guys that just want sex. I mean, you seem like a really nice girl, I'd treat you well and so forth, and essentially coming across with that sort of vibe. Instead, he's so non-needy and not desperate that he's able to say that sort of thing to a beautiful woman during an interaction and quote-unquote risk her not liking it, right? Which most guys are not willing to do when they're interacting with a beautiful woman. They don't want to risk saying something that she might not like. I've just got to show her that I'm a polite guy. I will treat her well. I'll treat her like a freaking princess if she'll just give me a chance with her, right? And he just wants to show that, or he wants to act like he's Mr. Cool and Mr. Disinterested, or rather than being a super nice guy, what a lot of guys do is they just try to get along with her. The guy thinks, well, look, if I can just keep a conversation going with her and we get along and maybe we even have some things in common and she likes some of the things that I say, then she's going to want me. I'm going to be able to kiss her, have sex with her, have a relationship with her. But what happens is that when a guy does that, the woman just feels neutral. She feels like she's talking with a guy who's a friend, right? A guy who could be like a coworker or even like a brother, just having a neutral conversation with her. Yet when a guy uses playfully challenging humor, it puts him in the position where he is the more emotionally strong one, emotionally dominant one, and he's making her feel challenged in the moment, which makes her feel girly and feminine in comparison to him. He has the confidence, the courage, the balls to be able to say something like that, and she then starts to look at him as being an emotionally strong man. He's not a man who's living in fear while interacting with her and thinking that he can't say anything that she might not like. He has so much confidence in himself, he has no fear to the point where he's able to playfully mess with her. So another example is if a man is interacting with a beautiful woman and she seems to be interested in him, laughing at his jokes, for example, or asking him lots of questions, and he then says something like this: "You're such a flirt. I mean, if you want to date me, you can just ask, you know. You can be more direct and say, hey, Dan, I really like you. Can I take you out sometime?" And at that point, the woman is going to laugh and feel shocked. And in many cases, she'll playfully deny it, right? She'll say that, no, she wasn't flirting, or she'll say something like, no, the guy needs to ask the girl out and so forth. And you've essentially created that type of dynamic between you and her. And you've shown her that you believe in yourself so much that you think a beautiful woman is flirting with you and wants to ask you out. But at the same time, she knows that you're just playfully messing with her. You're not saying it seriously. You're not saying, you're such a flirt. If you want to date me, you can just ask me out, you know? Then she's going to be freaked out. She's going to be like, okay, this is getting weird. But if the guy says it in a playful way, then she knows that, okay, he's just messing with her and he's creating that playful dynamic between him and her. And more importantly, he's not being tricked by the halo effect to the point of, well, I've got to really try hard to impress this woman and, you know, be careful when I ask her out because, I mean, she's beautiful. Everyone hits on beautiful women. Like, why would she want to be with someone like me? How about flipping it around and not being tricked by the halo effect? Showing the sort of confidence that women find attractive, but being playful about it, not being an arrogant prick, just being playful about it, creating that flirtatious vibe between you and the woman. Women love that. It's so funny to them. It's so unexpected, so surprising, and so attractive that a guy isn't being tricked by the halo effect. And finally, another example is if you're interacting with a beautiful woman and she says that she likes something, so a particular type of music, or maybe she says that she is into astrology and horoscopes, at that point you can say something like this: "Oh, you like that? Sorry, you've just been placed in the friend zone." Or, "Okay, well look, I thought you were cute up until that point, but sorry, you've just been placed in the friend zone." And then who's in the power position? Who's not being tricked by the halo effect? You. It's so surprising, so unexpected, so attractive to a beautiful woman because most guys feel stunned and don't know what to do when they're interacting with an attractive woman. They're getting tricked by the halo effect. And before I share an interesting quote with you from a beautiful woman which gives an insight into how they think. I'll point out that if you want to learn more than 100 ways to make women feel sexually and romantically attracted to you, then I highly recommend that you head over to masterattraction.com. Every month I give you new examples of what to say and do to make women feel sexually and romantically attracted to you. And in the 47-minute lesson on humor, which is about playfully challenging humor, there are 54 examples of what to say to use playfully challenging humor to attract women when you're single and in a relationship. And if you join Master Attraction, you also get instant access to the Master Attraction community. And that's where you can make new friends with guys who are learning my attraction techniques. You can find a wingman, you can ask for advice, you can give advice, and essentially never feel alone with this area of your life ever again. So the quote that I want to share with you is from Monica Bellucci. And she said, "Beauty is a gift, just like good health or intelligence. The only thing is not to be proud of being beautiful, because you didn't do anything. It was given to you." So her beautiful face and her nice boobs, her nice figure and so forth, that was given to her. It was genetics. And when she was that youthful, beautiful woman, she did a great job of taking care of her health and staying in shape and so forth. But her looks were given to her, right? It was just genetics. And a mistake that a lot of guys make is when they interact with a woman that they find physically attractive, they get tricked by the halo effect, which is something that happens all over the world. People get tricked by it. And the guy assumes that the woman is so much more intelligent and amazing and so forth than she may be, just because she looks good. And beautiful women get that reaction all the time. And what they want to experience is a man who can display emotionally attractive traits. He can display the attractive traits that make women feel attracted, but at the same time, not place her above him in terms of value just because of the way that she looks. And talking about men specifically, it's very difficult for most men to do that because men place more importance on a woman's physical appearance than her emotional attractiveness, especially initially. So a lot of men just feel stunned by a beautiful woman, and what you need to train yourself to do is to be able to interact with her in the same way that you would interact with a friend that you believe and you know really likes you and really appreciates you and really values you, right? You interact with her in that way, or in a way that you interact with a woman that you're not attracted to and you know is attracted to you. If you can interact with a beautiful woman in that way, then she will feel attracted to you and she will like you because she'll be able to sense and see that you're not getting tricked by the halo effect.